Arrow!
Good morning.
This is the energy that I was hoping you were going to bring, man, because you guys are so real.
Man.
Oh, my
What's
God.
going on?
Man, you guys are what's going on. Real world, homecoming, New Orleans. I mean, how do you keep your guard down on this show in the way that you show us your real selves, where everybody else would clam up and be a fake?
Tokyo, let me start it and you finish it.
Go ahead.
First of all, Arrow, thanks for having us on the show. It's good to be here. And, I think what's interesting is all we know now in this world on social media is we're self-editing and we're presenting our very best, most perfect self to the people who already appreciate us. And the real world, the first time, and Real World Homecoming, the second time, is the exact opposite. You don't get to edit your story, and your only option is to be raw and real and to work through very difficult situations. And that's something that is not only unheard of on social media, but it's unheard of on reality television. Like, that's what makes this show unique, is that it's so relatable. Anyone who's been to a family reunion knows it's difficult. Anyone who's went to a high school reunion knows it's difficult. So I think that's something that you viewers will bring, though, as they watch it. They're like, wow, these people are real. These people are being courageous. They're talking through difficult things. Mm-hmm. Tokyo, what's your point of view on that?
Well, I mean, it's I can't say that any better. It's a mountain regardless of how you slice it, and you're either in for the journey, in for the adventure, and you just rely on each other's strengths and you talk about our differences and our flaws, because we all have them, and we get through it together. We get through it together.
Now, David, there's one thing that we do in radio that should make a show successful, and I wonder if you guys do it as well, subliminally, in the way that in order to find success, you have to have a dick, a dork, and a deer. Do you ever find yourself in a situation with three people on the screen going, somebody's got to play the dick? I mean, somebody's got to be the real person.
Well, here's the thing. Any opinion that you have, any way that you live, is not going to be accepted by others, regardless of where they are. This world is too dynamic and too diverse you're not going to please everybody every single time. So it's just important to be yourself. And it's not just being, I choose to be a dick so the ratings can be this way. Yeah. It's just like, listen, if you understand that, and you're able to, just like athletes, when they leave it out on the field, they leave it on the court, just be as true to yourself as possible and be ready for that blowback a little bit, but just understand that, hey, you know what? I am me, and together as a cast, we learn to appreciate and understand that we all have differences, but we can always get through it and understand and have that love for each other.
Tokyo,
the short answer to your question, Joe, is that, the short answer to your question, Arrow, is that we're all dorks.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Thank you for admitting that. Thank you for admitting that. So now the two of you, do you ever get into a situation where all of a sudden that camera is another actor? Because I'm the type of person, when things are going right or wrong, I'll turn over and I'll look directly into that camera because I know there's a viewer on the other side of that.
Well, you know what? When you say, that's interesting that you say, but for me, the camera represents like worlds that or countries and cities and places I'll never visit.
Right.
And it represents the opportunity to not just, to speak to those people, but to understand that, like, hey, you know what, whatever I have to, however I evolve, I'm going to evolve as you watch, as you see, because regardless of whether I succeed or I fail, at least I can give one person the power to say, you know what, he did it or she did it, and I'm going to be able to do that. So it's about not setting the example, but just being yourself as much as possible, so that someone can say, you know what, I'm going to use that to better myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Arrow, you bring up an interesting point, which you don't see on a reality show, is the show. You don't see the cameras, you don't see the microphones, You don't see the lights. So we are living in a house with friends inside of a TV show. Interesting thing people would never know is there's production trucks on the street with generators to power all of the equipment. There had to have been like 1,000 miles of cables running throughout our house just to bring the production together from a technology standpoint. So that is always there. You can't ignore that. But I think what people would be surprised about is that the intimacy of the relationships and the dynamics and the rich history we have together overpower that. that to factor in the cameras and the viewers is too difficult, that the people in front of you are who need you. So there's a rawness that comes out. It's not polished. This is not, a coronation of cool. This is not us self-editing to be someone cool that we never got to be. These are raw people in their 40s who truly care about each other in spite of differences. And you learn to listen and to love and to work through some difficult things. And there's really no time to consider the camera because the soul in front of you needs to be heard.
One of the things that I'm hoping for with the show Real World Homecoming New Orleans is that the further we get away from this lockdown, the more I'm starting to see more people come together with the changes and the challenges, but they're also coming together as a community. And that's why I'm depending on this show to teach people, hey, get back together, work it out. Don't put it in a text message. Don't send an email. Work it out with physical conversation.
Joe, can I talk on this one? I cannot say that louder than what you just said it. But that's what we tried to do, that when we isolate ourselves, so again, this can happen in any chapter of U.S. history, of our own personal history, is that we go underground. We isolate ourselves either like as a singular person or within a singular community of like-minded people. That's all humanity has ever done, especially heightened from the last 2 years of social isolation. There's almost this element of paranoia of being around people, much less people unlike you. And I think that's a real credit to the 7 of us when we said yes to this, is we knew it would be risky. We knew it would be difficult, but we're noble hearts. Like, I don't know if this showed up the first time, but I know these 6 people, and we went into this wanting to work through our own personal dynamics, but also to remind people, like you said, Arrow, get out there, forget the text message, sit in front of that person, work through the tears.
It's going to be hard.
Give that person a hug that person that you don't understand, who doesn't understand you, but show them that you're going to find a way to love them. Yep. And you don't see this on social media. You certainly don't see it on other reality shows. Mm-hmm. And that's why, even though this show is wild and mind-blowing to me, having gone through it, I know if they're willing to put those clips on the air, and I hope and pray they do, there's going to be a sense of soul in this that will really surprise people.
Absolutely. Wow, you guys, I could talk to you all day. And I know our listeners are going to watch this show and they're going to see it differently because now they've heard how authentic you really are. And that means a lot to us on this side of the flat screen.
Awesome.
I appreciate that.
Well, thank you, Joe, for good questions. And thank you for your support. By the way, you should also, Joe, I'm sorry, I keep on saying Joe. I want to say Arrow. So, yeah, thank you for your support, Arrow. I appreciate it.
Tokyo, you were going to say something.
What I'm saying, and I echo that. It's very important that people understand that beyond the radio, beyond the cameras, everything that's a presentation and a production, there are humans behind that.
That's right.
And we really hope that shines through. And this is just the vehicle. The vehicle should not be taken as it is. There are humans behind that. It's very important to understand.
God, I love your hearts. I love your hearts. Be brilliant today, you two, okay?
Oh, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. God bless you.